Hello everyone, it's Leo, and in this video I'm going to comment my opinions on the first episode of Tokyo Mew Mew Mew. And look, my expectations were very high. And I can say that this episode really matched my expectations. I loved it. It was a great first episode. My jaw dropped in lots of moments, and I am a very big fan of Tokyo Mew Mew. I have read the manga, I have watched the original anime, and I am rereading the manga right now so that I could be prepared for this reboot. And one of the things that I feel like this reboot is really doing nicely is reshaping the story. We have two different stories of Tokyo Mew Mew, which one is from the manga, the other one is from the anime. I feel like the foundation of the story is the same in both, but the events happen quite differently in both of them. Now, they're taking both stories and creating a new one, starting with the designs, because they're using the Tokyo Mew Mew Return designs, which are from a sequel of Tokyo Mew Mew a la mode. So it's very interesting the way they're doing. They're not following the anime, they're not following the manga. They are doing something entirely new while at the same time respecting both of those stories. That's how I felt watching this first episode. Obviously, it's been a long time since I watched the anime, so I'm not going to be able to compare it one to one, but I don't even think there is a way of comparing them like this because it's very different. It just feels super fresh. So we have Ichigo, this girl who wants to fall in love, and it's very clear right at the start, they make it very clear that she is in high school. So in the original, Ichigo was in middle school. Now she is in high school. That means that she's older. She's probably around 15 years old. So this is a good thing because, Tokyo Mew Mew can sometimes get very raunchy. Not very, but kind of raunchy. And, she was very young. And she is still very young, but it just feels a little bit more appropriate to age her up a little bit. And this won't make a big difference in the story overall, but it would feel more natural for her to be a little bit more mature, even though Ichigo is never the mature type of character. But I liked this change, and I loved Yuki Tenma, who is the new voice actor from Ichigo, who went through auditions, and she fought for this role very hard. And the original voice of Ichigo from the original anime, from Tokyo Mew Mew, gave her blessing to Yuki Tenma. She even cried at that. It was a very beautiful moment. And she rocked Ichigo's voice. I feel like she was able to embody her personality. And I feel like this first episode was really able to hit the mark in terms of building up the foundation of Ichigo's personality. Loved it. She was funny, and the animation was able to follow through with her quirky personality. She is very agitated, energetic, and she's always changing expressions, and the anime is able to do that. There is one feeling of seriousness in certain moments of the episode, but in other moments, the episode is really allowed to just be silly. And in general, I feel like it was very silly. In a good way. It knows it is silly. It knows that it is doing something kind of stupid in a very good way. And that's how it follows through. So one of the changes right off the bat that happens is that Ichigo wants to fall in love. And she does not know Aoyama, who is the guy who she is going to fall in love with. And she doesn't know him. In the manga, they already start the manga knowing each other and going out on a date. So it's a little different. Like, we see how it starts for Ichigo, and she goes on this date with him totally by chance. And on this date, we are introduced to one of the main arguments of Tokyo Mew Mew, which are the endangered animals, and they are on the brink of extinction. And when they do it, it gets very serious. And it's obviously not something that you would entrust to a 15-year-old girl to do, protect the earth, protect the environment, protect the animals. So it's obvious that Ichigo doesn't know the answer to this kind of question. When Aoyama asks her, how can we do that? She's like, I don't know, because that's the appropriate answer for someone like her. I mean, for everybody who are not on this field of work on protecting animals and such, like, we don't know what has to be done. And I felt like it was appropriate for her to act that way, because at a certain point she was not caring about those animals at all. She just wanted to be there because of Aoyama. But then after a while, she started noticing how serious those things were. And she started getting worried about the state of the animals as well. And she got sad by it. And it's important because it enforces the whole argument of the show. So that was an interesting point. And the whole thing with her and Aoyama was very cute. I really enjoyed it. And there is a crucial, and I feel like the biggest change of all, which is Mint. Minto is a character who is like circulating the action of this whole episode, and she is already part of the whole scenario of the magical part of the show. And she is the one who leads Ichigo there, and she seems to lead the other girls as well. We don't see it, but it's implied. And it's kind of like they already chose the girls, and she is the one, pushing them forward. I like this change. I think it's an interesting thing, but being very honest, I really miss the cruel Mint we had in the original. Mint was a snob girl. She was someone who was very rude, and she was unapologetic 100% of the time, and I loved that about her. I loved her ruthless personality a lot. It was very interesting. Obviously, she retains some of that in this, especially when they are Mews already and she starts like discussing and fighting with Ichigo. You can see that in her a little bit, which is a little bit different than the manga, that she does not want to work with Ichigo after she gets her powers. But I feel like I hope that we're able to see this side of Mint in the new Mint as well. I hope so. And there is another thing that I did not really enjoy, which was Mint helping in the fight against the enemy, and I'm gonna get to that later. So we get the powers, and the girls getting the power. That scene was very cool. I was gonna mention how it happens in the manga, but I really don't want this to be a comparison between the new anime and the manga, so I'm not gonna talk about that, even though I think that the manga scene is better. But overall, that scene was very nice. We could see Ichigo, really getting the cat DNA on her. We didn't see that on the others. I hope we get to see that scene on the others, like a flashback, when we get to see more of the other girls. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but if that does happen, I would love it. And then, as I said, it gets lots of inspo from the manga and from the old anime. The monster is the same monster from the first fight in the manga, even though the scenario is a little bit different. So I love how they're doing this. They're taking inspiration, but they're not doing a one-to-one adaptation. So it's very good. So we have this situation with Yo. Yo gets Ichigo. Yo is very seductive as well. And Ichigo transforms. Absolutely love the transformation. It's so beautiful. And I love her hair. There is something special about Miu Ichigo's hair, especially when she's in the transformation. It's so charming. I absolutely love it. And I also love the soundtrack. The one who did the soundtrack, the one who is doing the soundtrack for Tokyo MEW MEW is the same person who did the soundtrack for Sailor Moon Crystal. And you can really see the similarities. The songs that are, sometimes I felt like I was watching Sailor Moon Crystal with the same soundtrack because they were very similar. Especially when Ichigo was getting the cat DNA, I was like, girl, this is a Sailor Moon Crystal song. It's very similar, and I like it, so it was a good thing. The transformation song was gorgeous. I loved it. And then we get to the fighting scene. And the fighting scene, everything concerning Ichigo in the fighting scene was very cool. Ichigo was able to be very lively and funny, and I feel like there is this sense of the original magical girls that were a little bit more foot on the ground. You know, they were not as grand, as big as they are nowadays, with, you know, the precures that jump up into the sky and you can't even see the city down because you're too high. You know, like she was tripping over a little stone. You know, she was tripping over little things and it's like she's confused. So it makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, they were able to match it up with more of the current style of the magical girls because she was able to fight a little bit physically. You know, so that was also very interesting. And that is something, like, obviously she's not fighting like the Futariwa Precure girls or the Go Princess Precure girls, but she was more or less on the same level as the Tropical Rouge girls, for example. And, you know, I feel like it kind of has a Precure, a more recent Precure vibe, because the more recent Precure seasons don't have intense fighting battles as they did in the past, even though they do have in more important episodes, but it's like one here, one there. And the fighting scene was very cool, but the one thing I did not enjoy was Mint in the fighting scene. There was a phrase that Mint said after the fight, because Yo said, "Oh, I was worried about you," and Mint said, "Oh, you could be worried, but it's like, it was not my fault. Girl, you did nothing." Mint did nothing, and she even used Reboot Minto Echo, which is her attack, which also did nothing. And this makes me a little bit worried because in the original Tokyo Mew Mew, the fights were really centered in Ichigo. And will this happen again? I really wanted to see all the 5 girls shine in battles, but I don't know. I just didn't really like Mint's inclusion in the fight as Mew Mint. She could have been there without her transformation, just in the back, watching the fight. You know, it would be more interesting because I did not really enjoy her inclusion in the fight as Mew Mint. But there was an interesting scene that totally broke the rules of magical girls. Mew Ichigo, when she saw Mew Mint, she's like, "Oh, you're the girl who gave me the tickets." Girl, you cannot do that. No, no, no. You cannot recognize a magical girl. That is a golden rule, okay? Don't do that, Mew Ichigo. And another thing I didn't really enjoy was her attack. The Bone Strawberry check wasn't very charming to me. I think there was a little bit of lack of impact, and I did not enjoy the blue background. I mean, why not pink? I don't know. It just felt a little weird to me. I didn't really enjoy this. And I mean, there wasn't impact in the original anime either, but I wanted to see a little bit of impact in her attack this time around. But Yuki Tenma chanting the attack was very, very cool. So I liked it a lot. And overall, this first episode was amazing. It was like, it really got a lot of Ichigo's personality, and I loved it. I think that there is a lot from Tokyo Mew Mew that I'm excited to see, and this episode kind of guaranteed to me that we're on to a great ride. I think that it's gonna be surprising, it's gonna be amazing, it's going to be something that we are gonna enjoy a lot. It's a present for us Tokyo Mew Mew fans. You know, the last scene with the Cafe Mew Mew, Cafe Mew Mew looking super, super beautiful. Everything in this show is looking super beautiful. I love the colors, the animation, the voice actors. Everybody is doing a stellar job. I feel like they are with the right energy for this reboot. They are doing something new. It's like a present to us. We don't really know where this story will lead us, but I hope it leads us to great places because I'm excited. But a downside is that today they announced that the whole collection of the Tokyo Mew Mew Blu-rays and DVDs is going to comprise of 3 volumes. So we're going to have 13 episodes. Tokyo Mew Mew is going to be a series comprised of 13 episodes. Yeah. I was hoping for more, but I'm already happy with what we got. I mean, if we have 13 episodes with the quality of the first, baby, it's gonna be fire. Anyways, this is my view on the first episode of Tokyo Mew Mew. How did you feel about it? Did you enjoy it as well? I also loved the opening and the ending. I have a video here reacting to both. What a moment we are going through right now. I just loved it. Anyways, this is my opinion. Please leave yours in the comment box and let's keep talking about it. Anyways, taking this little time to thank the members of the Magical Cinnamon channel. If you are a member, thank you very, very much for your support. And if you've watched up to now, thank you so much as well. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye bye!